Hey guys, what's up? Nick here once again, and welcome back to Do You Remember? In today's episode, we're talking about Skate, and more importantly, Skate 2. In my opinion, Skate 2 is the best out of the series of the three Skate games. As you all know, or if you didn't know, they are making a brand new Skate 4. No release date yet, it's very early alpha stages, but it seems to be that they're being very open with the community and having a lot of playtesting and stuff, and it looks to be in good shape. I'm very excited for it, to say the least. And yes, I will be covering that game once it fully releases. But until then, all we have is to go back and relive the precious memories of our childhood with the original Skate series. Started out with the original Skate on Xbox 360 and PS3, and then about a year later, or 2 years later, I don't remember the exact release dates, Skate 2 released, and then about a year or two later after that, Skate 3 released. And we haven't seen another Skate for over 10 plus years. It's been a long time, and we really do sorely miss it. Now, Skate 1 was a pioneer of its time in the video game skateboarding genre. It was the very first skate game to include a type of realistic approach to flip tricks and just tricks in general for skateboarders. I liked the approach of where the camera was as if imitating a real life person is following you for a skate video. Not only that, but the whole flip system and trick system was amazing with flicking the right analog stick. It just was so intuitive at the time. It felt great. Was it as precise as it could have been? Probably not, but it did work for what it was. It really just changed up the whole formula that we were all used to from like the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series. And don't get me wrong, I still love those games. I really enjoyed the remakes of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 that recently came out. But there's just a special place in my heart for the skate games and how they treated the entire formula for what it was. Because at the time before Skate released, I mean, Tony Hawk was kind of getting stale. It was just the same old every year, kind of like the Call of Duty trend where if it ain't broke, why fix it? But, you know, gamers want new. We want new and exciting, and it just wasn't coming each year. It was getting more bland. And Tony Hawk was trying new stuff, like in Project 8 with the slow motion tactics and being able to do late flips and stuff like that, but it just wasn't enough. And that's where Skate comes in, completely changing the mold and reinvigorating the skate gamer world in a way. I think it brought a lot of people to the skateboarding world that weren't even skaters themselves. I was one of them. I got into skateboarding and longboarding, and I still do to this day because of these video games, and I have them to thank for that. The biggest issue, however, with the first Skate game was that you could not get off your board, and there also wasn't a whole lot in terms of customization, whereas in Skate 2, which is the one you're seeing here, that's where they really pushed the envelope to basically, in my opinion, make the first game obsolete. They even brought back a lot of the same locations from the first game because they were just that good, but they made the overall map way more grand in scale, and they added so many new features, including, of course, getting off your board so you can get up on ledges, jump over railings, and really just set yourself up for some really nice lines. On top of that, you can move around objects around the level to create your own ramps and stuff like that for, again, more lines and certain situations for certain missions, which really amped up the creativity, and I just loved the feeling of Skate 2. It felt really gritty and grounded. Like, it had some silly moments, of course. I mean, it's not obviously the most realistic game of all time, but I like that they kept it grounded in reality with how the cops and the security guards really don't want you around, and you kind of have to escape from them, and you have to, like, even pay somebody to come in and take care of the cops, so to speak, while you're skateboarding, to also call in a guy to rip off these like little security nudges that are left on the railings that are supposed to stop or deter skaters from grinding on them. And there's a whole like plot outline about that, and I always thought that was really cool. I like the grittiness of the world of Skate 2. And that's where I feel they fell off in Skate 3, which you would imagine, okay, this is the third one in the series, it just should be above and beyond what Skate 2 even brought to the table. And in some ways, it did. They really capitalized and improved on the whole Hall of Meat section, which is when you bailed in Skate 2, you got certain points for how much damage you did to your character, which is, again, kind of a silly minigame, but it ended up being a lot of fun. And then Skate 3, they just went above and beyond that to where, in my opinion, got over the scale of ludicrous, and it just wasn't as fun anymore. And then on top of that, it just felt like the world itself was way too silly. It didn't take itself seriously at all, and everybody was lovey-dovey, and I did not like the world at all in Skate 3 compared to Skate 2. That, of course, is my opinion. I know a lot of people will disagree with that, and Skate 3 is looked widely as the better version or the best version in the series. And I can understand why. I think the level design is great in Skate 3. They added a lot more tricks. They added the park editor, which was pretty cool, and the online was unmatched. But I still prefer Skate 2 overall. I just love the world. I love the feeling of it. I like the story. You know, it's not like a grand scale story with a ton of great writing or anything, but it gets the job done. Keeps you grounded and makes you figure out what's going on. And again, I really like just the feel of this game. And coming into the tricks and whatnot, I mean, based off what you're seeing on the screen here, it's pretty early on in the game. I apologize. I just got this copy in the mail from eBay. I bought it for my PS3 because I used to have it on PS3 back in the day, and I 100%ed it, and I still would come back to it even after beating the entire game. But I haven't been able to play it since then. So this is kind of starting from scratch, so to speak. So I might be a little rusty here and there, but it kind of was like riding a bike. I picked it back up and I knew exactly where I left off, and I was having a blast right out of the get-go. And yeah, this game really just throws you out into the shark, so to speak, but in a good way, where it just, here's a ton of missions, just go at it, you know, mess around, free roam around the world. And by the way, it's not level based, it is an open world game, so you have the whole map to your disposal right off the beginning. You don't have to worry about unlocking new sections. There are certain spots that are locked, so to speak, until you get to that certain mission, such as like the Danny Way Skate Park or Mega Park, whatever it's called. There's a couple other ones, like the Mega Ramp section. I don't remember all the names of the places, but if you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. Those are not unlocked at the beginning. You do have to unlock those later, but it is really worth it and satisfying to go through the game and figure out all those secret sections and secret areas. And of course, when you do unlock the mega compound and all that, it's a blast to play on. And the physics in this game, I think, are really well done as well. I think Skate 2 had the best ragdoll physics in terms of when you crash and bail. It just looks brutal. Where in Skate 3, I don't know, I could be wrong on this, but the skeleton model of the character looks so stiff. Like when you hit a ramp or a pole or something, you just turn into a stiff, like, skeleton man. It just didn't look nearly as funny and as cool, and I don't know. It didn't make me go like, oof, when in Skate 2, like, this game makes you say ouch out loud when you hit a rail with your nuts or something. Can't give enough praise for that. The soundtrack was also extremely good for this game, like way better than it needed to be. I can't sadly play any of the music for you guys because of copyright, obviously, but it's a great soundtrack, probably one of the best in any skate games. Next to Tony Hawk, of course. I think those were really highly known for their soundtracks being amazing, and this is no slouch in that regard. If I had any critiques coming back to this game, especially in 2023, the main thing for me is the frame rate really suffers. And this could just be a PS3 issue, I have no idea, but I don't remember anybody complaining about this back in the day. And again, it could just be that we're spoiled today, right? We have PCs that can run games at 240 plus frames per second. So coming to a 60 FPS game, it does feel a little bit, I don't know, laggy at times is the best way to describe it, because it definitely drops below 60 for most of the game. Now, you can get used to it. I did get used to it after about 15 minutes of playtime, but I really noticed it right at the beginning. I was like, wow, I did not realize this game ran this poorly. And again, could be my system, I don't know. I did change out the hard drive for an SSD in my PS3, so I would assume like my PS3 would actually be quicker or faster loading than most out there if you just bought them vanilla, but I don't know. It just, the game does not run that great. But other than that, it doesn't crash or anything. No issues there. Loading times are okay. They're not super slow or nothing, especially for an open world game like this. But it is kind of a bummer that the frames do try to take a toll on the overall experience. It is nice, though, that they do have a fast travel system in the menus, so if you don't want to actually just ride around the entire map, there's no vehicles or anything that you get in the skate games. It's just you have your skateboard and you have your feet, and that's it for traverse. So if you do want to get to a mission a lot quicker, you have the option to fast travel, which is nice and robust, but the loading times for that is a little bit slow. Kind of annoying, to be honest with you, so definitely something to take into consideration. The other thing that I did run into that I did completely forget about is some of the missions in Skate 2 are completely bullshit in terms of just their difficulty, like just ramps up to just no degree. And it's not really the fault of the mission structure itself, it's more of the physics of the game, or just there's a glitch that just doesn't take place that needs to happen for it to be successful. One of the examples I can think of is there's this mission right at the beginning of the game here in the schoolyard where you have to ramp up this basketball hoop and do like a hand plant on it. But with the physics of the game, it doesn't allow you to really hand plant the basketball hoop. So you have to kind of glitch it into just saying, oh, he did it when you didn't really. And it takes literally 30 minutes, sometimes almost an hour, to get the game to glitch out to give you a successful, like, hey, he did it. The one that came to mind that I thankfully haven't gotten to yet, but I know it's coming, is the game of Skate. There's a couple missions throughout the story mode where you have to go against the AI in a game of Skate. If you guys don't know what that is, it's basically horse and basketball, where one person sets a trick. If they land it, the next person has to do the exact same trick and land it. If that person either does a different trick or they don't land it, you get a letter, which is S, and then you go on and so forth. Now, you're wondering, well, how is that, how is that a problem? Like, what's the issue with that mission? And the issue is that in Skate 2, they put this in the story mode, so you're going against AI characters. And guess what? The AI does not mess up. They do not fail. It's literally impossible to beat if you don't land every single trick perfectly. It's really hard. And I kind of talked about this at the beginning. Even though the flick trick system with the right analog stick is revolutionary and it works for what it is, it's not extremely precise. I mean, you can get as precise as you can with it, but it's not perfect. And some of the tricks that the AI pulls off, it doesn't show you how to do said trick. You have to kind of learn them yourself. So it is really difficult sometimes to match what the AI is doing. And the only way around that mission is to kind of cheese it by, before you talk to the guy to start the mission of Skate, you actually go and grab an object like a railing or whatever, and you put it in the way of the AI's program tracking of where they're going to go. And what that does when you start the level, obviously you know how to get around the railing and do the trick, but the AI doesn't realize that, and they just run into the railing and they trip and fall and they lose. It does make you feel cheap. It makes you feel like a shit for cheating your way through it. But I'm not exaggerating that this is the most frustrating mission that I can ever remember in a game in the past like 10, 15 years. And it's really the only way to get past it without pulling your hair out in frustration. And I think a lot of people who've played this game can definitely agree with me on that it's really the only way to get past it. So, kind of a bummer. It just kind of sucks that those two missions, or how many there are in the game, I think there's like 2 or 3 that I can remember that are that difficult, that really bring down the overall experience. But everything else around it is so damn good that it makes up for it, and I just cannot get enough of this game. I've probably put over 5,000 hours into Skate 2 in my life, and that's not even counting the other Skate games that I've put countless hours into as well. So yeah, I'm super excited for Skate 4. I really hope we get a release date soon, or some type of new update that isn't just alpha footage. I want to see that game with full textures and the full physics and everything at play to let me know what I'm in for. Because at the moment, I'm kind of a little nervous. It sounds like it's going to be free to play, which I don't know how that's going to work, especially with a game that's mainly been a single player only experience. So they turn it into a multiplayer only experience, so you have to be constantly connected to the internet. There's no single player. You have to go against other players 24/7. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy that. I might try it out. Of course, if it's free to play, I will try it out. But it's one of those things like, if they make it multiplayer only, I might fall off of it pretty quickly. Don't get me wrong, I like playing with other people, but there's a lot of times that I just like to cruise and do my own thing in a single player game, And I liked having the missions to play through. It gave you that sense of accomplishment that a lot of other Skate games really didn't give you. It was more arcadey than anything. And I think Skate was like the perfect balance of arcade and simulation in a way. So, I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on Skate 4? Are you excited for it? Are you going to be getting it when it comes out? Or are you kind of nervous like I am? I really want to hear your thoughts, as well as, did you play Skate 2 growing up? Did you enjoy it? And which game out of the Skate series is your favorite? I love hearing everyone's discussions like this in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of Do You Remember? Make sure to leave a like, share, support as always. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We'll hopefully see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of the video. Before we head out, I want to give a huge special thank you to our channel members. These are amazing people who are wanting to support the channel and the content here. And if you want to do the same, you can click the little join button underneath every single new upload. And in becoming a channel member not only supports me and the channel, but also gives you a ton of perks in doing so, including early access to new content and being a part of exclusive polls and information that